Welcome back, Shalloners. Welcome back, Swifties, and welcome back, Dash Dolls. It's a mess. It's a mess. Just a few days ago, I did a video on the re-leaked phone call between Taylor Swift and Kanye West that appeared to vindicate what Taylor has been saying for 4 years, that she didn't know about Kanye West's "I made that bitch famous" line in his mostly unlistenable song, famous from an album full of other similarly unlistenable songs. And I thought we were going to be done with it, right? Because we talked about two-faced friends. We talked about how to overcome scandal and stuff like that. And I thought, we're all done. Because one thing that I brought up in that video is, why the fuck are we talking about this now? Like I said, 4 years. This has been going on since 2016. Barack Obama was still in office. We were a totally different nation. And it's like, why is this coming up? Why? Well, you know what? It's back. It's back. Today, we're going to talk about the wild new developments. I'm going to break it down because, and we're not just going to talk the tea and I'm not just going to give my commentary. I am. But we're also going to talk about why the fuck Kim keeps defending Kanye West. Because one of you guys pointed this out. Shallon Lester, I believe it was. I'm on a thread with all of my fan accounts and we like talk all day. They're my best friends. And she's like, what messes me up is like, Kanye has not said anything about this, right? It's Kim versus Taylor. Why is Kim going so hard for Kanye? Like, I get that it's her husband, but like, he's not even fighting for himself. She's fighting his battles for him. And for Kim, she's like, I see Kim as a very like alpha female. Like, she's a boss bitch. She is. You can say what you want about her. Look at what she has accomplished. That's crazy. I mean, based on, like we always say, not a lot of talent. Okay, well, she's got a talent for making money, and sweetheart, that is a talent. So why her, of all people, would she be like so staunch about defending Kanye, who could have very easily been like, you know what? I'm sorry. You're right. I didn't tell you about that. I thought adding in the "I made that bitch famous" lyric wouldn't be that big of a deal because it's slang, but I can see how that was offensive to you. All he would have had to say at any point, and that would have been done. All Kim would have had to say at any point. Same thing. It's like, you know what? Yeah, like Kanye thought he was being completely transparent, but as a woman, I understand why Taylor would be just like not about that line. Her feelings are valid. But no one, neither of them have ever said that. Why? Well, I've got the answer. There's a psychological principle going on behind the scenes in Kim's mind that is fueling this behavior and is fueling her marriage to Kanye itself. I'll break it all down. But first, just want to remind you guys that if you have a love question, find me on my website at shallonlester.com. Also join me daily, not today because we're doing this, for live streams. We're doing dating questions. We're doing manifestation lessons. We're talking some trash from me being mean to people. It's great. Also, be sure to check out my podcast, Girl on Top, out every Wednesday, every place podcasts are found. And if you're stuck inside and you're bored, shop my quarantine must-have list. I have talked before that I am a doomsday prepper, so there's a lot of stuff on that list. None of it is sold out. It's all on Prime, and it's stuff that you can get now to be prepared if this disaster gets worse. You can shop that link right down in the bio. And I was going to tell you guys about something else. Oh, so some videos we have on deck, this one obviously, and then I'm going to be covering Ellen DeGeneres and two-faced celebrities. I have been fucking saying this about Ellen for years and nobody wanted to listen. Nobody wanted to listen. No one wanted to listen about Reese Witherspoon either, but I've got the tea. And sisters and brothers, I'm going to spill it. And of course, we're going to do a breakdown of the psychology behind the contestants on Love is Blind. Ugh. Plus some other topics, how to glow up during quarantine, how to not murder your partner if you're quarantined with them, and how to keep the spark alive, and how to deal with being alone. One of my fan accounts put that out like on her page. She's like, what are some ideas that you can do alone? And literally everyone said masturbate. So, okay. So first of all, let's talk about what Taylor said. So after this phone call leaked, she waited like a day or two, and then she said, she posted on her Insta story, instead of answering those who are asking how I feel about the video footage that leaked, proving that I was telling the truth the whole time about that call, you know, the one that was illegally recorded that somebody, italics, how did she get italics on an Instagram story? That's the real mystery. That somebody edited and manipulated in order to frame me and put me, my family, and fans through hell for 4 years. And then she's like, let's talk about something that's actually important, and provided links to Feeding America charity, which is amazing. And I was like, you know what, Taylor? That's an alpha bitch move, because what is an alpha female? Not just a pack leader, a pack builder. And historically, I have come down pretty hard on Taylor for her relentless victim narrative, you know? And what I said before in the video is that, like, I never felt like Taylor was unequivocal about her point of view on this phone call. And maybe she was, but she also then kept like breadcrumbing it. She'd like speak in these like veiled things. I don't know, like when some people call you a snake, it's like, speak on it or don't. But this like pussyfooting around the truth and these like subtweets are just like juvenile. And I believe that she was doing that to extend the victimhood, because she historically has been, she's kind of enjoyed that. We all know people like this. We all know the martyrs. Why don't you go ahead and get down off the cross? We need the wood. Whether it's your mama, I'm the only one who cooks in this house, or it's your sister, your mom likes me better, or maybe it's your boyfriend, maybe it's your best friend, maybe it's your favorite pop star, maybe it's you, maybe it's me. We all go through it, you know? But Taylor has seemed to have made kind of a career out of this. The Scooter Braun fiasco. Just, I mean, that's unending. She'll bring that shit up again. For sure. She used her 15 minutes, literally 15 minutes of fame when she got her Billboard Woman of the Decade award to shit on every single person who had ever wronged her. There was no gratitude. There was no, yeah, let's, woman power, we can do it. It was fuck you, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. I did this all on my own. No one else deserves accolades. That was also the vibe in her Miss Americana documentary. Remember when she was accepting that award and she's like, you know, it's lonely and I wish I had someone here to like high five about it, when her producer, Jack Antonoff, was literally next to her. That was the person she could have high-fived, but she chose to take a victim spin, right? And so she's, in a way, she's the girl who cried wolf. Like in this case, yeah, like it looks like she's vindicated, but there have been so many cases where you're just like, not this again. She's so talented and she's so smart, and I've hung out with her. She's lovely in real life. She's lovely. Just her skin is like unbelievable. And she's so sweet. But there's this side of her that you're like, babe, what's happening? Do you guys, I'm quarantined in my parents' house. Do you guys have like a cup like this? Like a promotional plastic cup that you're like, I would save this thing in a fire. I love this cup more than I've loved anyone I've ever dated. I love you. I'll be back. Just stay there. I'll be back. So that's what Taylor said. And we thought, okay, this is probably going to die out. Kim and Kanye are going to realize, they're caught, and they're going to like slink away, tail between their legs. It's a quarantine. Perfect time to lay low and say absolutely nothing. But that's not how it went. Let's go to the tape. And by the way, thank you to my fan account, Quotes by Shallon, for posting all these things. You were so organized, like you're the wind beneath my wings. For the longest time, my friends thought I was the person behind all my fan accounts. I'm like, how many months have you thought that? And you've just been friends with me anyway while thinking I'm making my own fan accounts like an absolute douche? Okay. So this is what Kim said. She added, Taylor Swift has chosen to reignite an old exchange that at this point in time feels very self-serving given the suffering millions of real victims are facing right now. You see, real victims. Kim's up on this victim narrative. I didn't feel the need to comment a few days ago, and I'm actually really embarrassed and mortified to be doing it right now. But because she continues to speak on it, I feel like I'm left without a choice but to respond because she's actually lying. This is interesting because, you know, when someone does attack you, when someone dumps you, when someone hurts you, truly silence is the best. And it is not satisfying. It is not satisfying. It doesn't scratch that itch for revenge. My necklace says revenge. No one loves revenge more than me. No one. But if you're playing the long game, if you're trying to win the war and not just the battle, that is usually the thing to do. So I understand how Kim is like, I don't want to speak on this because the Kardashians, if nothing else, are strategic, right? They are strategic as fuck. And that comes from Kris Jenner's like kind of sociopathy and latent narcissism, because she gets objectivity. She doesn't really care. You know, there's not like that deep emotional thing. So she can look at a situation in this very Machiavellian and draconian way and be like, okay, here's how we proceed. She's an excellent war consultant, and they listen to her, right? And so for Kim to be like, I gotta say something. Like, I get that because we've all been in that position where we know it's best to say nothing, but we're just like, bleh. And I'm sure Taylor felt that way too. Like, she had to speak on it too. Okay. Kim goes on. I'll try and read in the Kim voice. To be clear, I'm from SoCal, so it's not that hard. It's probably just as my voice. To be clear, the only issue I ever had around the situation was that Taylor, lied. I added the through her publicist, who stated that, quote, Kanye never called to ask for permission. They clearly spoke, so I let you all see that. Nobody ever denied the word bitch was used without her permission. At the time when they spoke, I'm exhausting myself. At the time when they spoke, the song had not been fully written yet. But as everyone can see in the video, she manipulated the truth of their actual conversation in her statement when her team said Taylor declined and cautioned Kanye about releasing a song with such a strong misogynistic message. Okay. All right. There's more. The lie was never about the word bitch. It was always whether there was a call or not and the tone of the conversation. Okay. I never edited the footage, another lie. I only posted a few clips on Snapchat to make my point, and the full video that recently leaked doesn't change the narrative. Objections, well, I don't know. To add, Kanye as an artist has every right to document his musical journey and process, just like she recently did through her documentary. This is true. I think California is a one-party state, so you don't need permission if you're recording a conversation. I'm not sure if that's true. You know what? Let's find out. Is California a one-party state? Oh. Although California is a two-party state, it is also legal to record a conversation if an audible beep is heard on the recorder and for the parties to hear. An individual not involved in or present during a communication must have a consent of at least one party. Okay. So Taylor's right on that. It's New York is a one-party state. So that means you don't need someone else's permission to record a phone call. And I have. But in California you do, and you have to be like, beep. So Kim, it's like, yeah, he has the right to document it, but you also have the right to disclose that you're documenting it. It's a double-edged sword. Kanye has documented the making of all his albums for his personal archive. Who cares? He's such a narcissist. Do you think he just jerks off in the mirror? I bet he does. However, has never released any of it for public consumption, and the call between the two of them would have remained private or would have gone in the trash had she not lied and forced me to defend him. What's interesting? Forced me to defend him. Let's get back to that. This will be the last time I speak on this because honestly, nobody cares. Kim, Taylor, there's people who are dying. Sorry to bore you with all this. I know you are all dealing with more serious and important matters. Well, she's right about that. And I see at least the self-awareness in Kim's statements of this is stupid, and Taylor hopefully is she's doing the same thing, linking to the charity. So that's good. It's but you're both still talking about it. You're both still talking about it. And so, yes, what jumped out at me here is forced me to defend Kanye. Forced me to defend Kanye. Call me old-fashioned. But when someone is locked in a tower by an evil witch and someone else comes riding up on a horse with a javelin or a jousty thing, whatever those are called, I think we know which gender is which, right? We know who's in that tower. We know who's on that horse. And it's not a big-butted Kardashian reality star riding up to save, the helpless widow man. The helpless creative genius who nobody understands and who's been siphoning money off his rich wife for years to fuel his madness and not taking his mental health medication. On one hand, when you're married, or even when you have a boyfriend, or even when you have a best friend, yeah, you feel like, baby, it's us against the world. They come for you, they come for me. I have always said that I'm a very loyal friend, and the number one quality I offer is that your enemies are now my enemies. I say all the time, I'll cyberbully people if you want me to. If they've been mean to you, if they've attacked you first, I'm a gun for hire. Let's do this shit. Don't come for me. No, don't come for my girls. And I'm very much like that in my relationships. I am the ride or die bitch. I am the Cardi B. But I'm not going to ride or die if he's not even riding. I don't want to ride or die. I would love to just have a nap, watch some murder documentaries, drink tea out of my favorite cup. So it's weird that Kim has this like seething need to defend him. But before we get into why Kim defends him, I want to talk about someone defending Taylor, Todrick Hall, who has lost his fucking mind. Lost his mind. He reposted what Kim had said and with his own commentary. Todrick Hall is a Broadway person, right? And he's like a judge on Drag Race. I would consider him a B, if not C-list celebrity. Why do I point that out? Because Todrick, boo, you don't have this kind of career that you can call Kim Kardashian's the thing you went on to call her. I cannot stand this woman. Kim Kardashian posted all these on her story. She's clearly missing the point. Number one, Taylor didn't reignite anything. Kris probably leaked this footage her damn self. I thought that too, but I was like, to what end? You know, like Kris is strategic. They're all very strategic. So it's like if there's no money in it or if there's no PR boost, I don't know. One of you guys said maybe Kourtney did. Number two, after your Ray J video and publicly documenting every crevice of your vagina, I highly doubt that you're embarrassed now to respond to this. Just apologize, you self-absorbed, entitled, stubborn little queef. Oh, Todrick, what have you done? What have you done? That's sweet that you're ride or die for Taylor Swift, especially because I don't think you understand that she's kind of like using you for clout. You know, it's very interesting to me that after Taylor, you know, slunk off into obscurity for a year to like regroup and everything, and she ditched her model squad, she came back with just this like Benetton ad of the Rainbow Coalition of Friends, gays, people of color. Like, it's just like, Taylor, are you building your own sort of like suicide squad of people who are going to rehabilitate your image? You know, Todrick is very outspoken about the gay community. You know, he's very much an advocate, and it's like, I don't think that you just accidentally aligned yourself with him. You know, he's giving you street cred. And I think you thought, oh, you know, I'm going to rebrand myself as a gay icon a la Cher. You are no Cher, madam. All right? Nobody is Cher. Ugh, those wigs. So whatever. They're real friends. Who cares? I don't care. But my point is, don't go to war with the Kardashians, Todrick. I think you've signed your own death warrant with this shit. Like, career-wise, that's just unwise. And also, like, why are you getting involved? Why are you getting involved like this? It's like, it's interesting because he's so gassed up that Kim is defending Kanye. You don't have a dog in this fight either. You know, like, Kim has more reason to defend Kanye than you do to defend Taylor Swift. She's a big girl. She has like 2 billion fans. Like, she can handle it. Of course, he like deleted them, which always like pisses me off. It's like, say what you say. Like, be Nene Leakes. I said what I said. You know, stand by it. Don't apologize. Be like, I meant it and I said it. He's like, I was just venting. Okay, boo. Well, choices have consequences. So, what the fuck is going on here? Why is Kim riding so hard for Kanye? It comes down to a psychological principle called confirmation bias. Confirmation bias basically runs our life, right? It is a human tendency to seek out and prioritize information that confirms our pre-existing beliefs, right? About ourselves, about the world, about political candidates. And there was this famous experiment where people who were like very ride or die for a certain candidate were shown absolutely like damning evidence against them or their policies and stuff like that. And the people, they found ways to spin that information into something positive and actually dug their heels in and supported the candidate more, you know? And this happens not just in politics, this happens in everyday life where we seek out situations that are going to confirm how we feel. So like I've said before, this is why it's important to have a very positive mental image, right? Because confirmation bias doesn't have to be something negative. It can be something very positive. One thing I am like very convinced of is that people are going to like me at a party, is that I'm socially dynamic, you know? So when I go to a party, unconsciously, I choose people to talk to who are going to confirm that belief. I'm not going to talk to like the hipster intellectuals like, did you read the new breakdown of Proust? I'm like, no, I'm not going to talk to them. I'm a YouTuber. they're not going to talk to me. They're going to judge me. And that's going to disrupt my belief that people at this party are going to like me. So I'm going to go to those sorority looking girls and those fratty looking guys. And then I'm confirmed, right? We see it in a negative. When we're feeling uncomfortable in a situation, we go to a party, nobody here is going to like me. Everyone's going to judge me. Everyone's going to laugh at me. You hear people laughing across the room. You're like, oh my God, they're laughing about me. They're laughing about me. You seek out that information. What you fear, you create. This all ties back to manifestation, really. And science knows this. Like, this is a scientific principle. This is something that's been studied and studied and studied. They've been very, devotedly studying it for the last 60 years. So it's not like something new. This isn't like, oh, the internet created this. No. And the reason we do this is basically evolution. We do this because if we're constantly using our energy to take in data and was this right or is this wrong? Let's pour it back and forth in my beaker and let's do my little experiment and log the data. No, we don't have enough energy to survive, right? We can't move through our life. We can't progress. We can't mate. We can't find food. We can't achieve anything because we're just busy being like, do I really like this plastic cup? Why would I like it? It's probably full of BPA and it's weird and the paint comes off and I probably drink the paint. What am I doing? I have a Yeti out there that keeps things colder. But I tell myself, no, I love it. I dig my heels in. I love this cup. And it comes down to, okay, so when we're presented with information that is contrary to our beliefs, it activates the part of our brain that responds to pain. Being wrong physically hurts, right? And if being wrong about my favorite cup is a little mental ouchie, imagine how much it would hurt to be wrong about my husband, about my boyfriend, about my best friend, about my parents, about how I live my life in general, about who I voted for and what those beliefs mean, right? So when we're presented with this, when we're in actual physical pain or there's a physical threat, we snap into fight or flight, right? I'm gonna fight it out or I'm gonna get the fuck out of here. So someone's presenting you information about Kanye West. You're married to Kanye West. You go into fight or flight. Fight is I'm going to dig in my heels and I'm going to double down on this shit. And isn't that what Kim has done? No, it's this. It comes across as having to have the last word. I have to be right. That's fight. Flight is she's lying. I'm going to distance myself from this data. I'm going to distance myself from this data completely, right? Fight or flight in terms of this cup. Fight. I don't care. This is my favorite cup because even though it doesn't keep it as cold as the Yeti, I can see through it and I like to be able to see what I'm drinking and how much is left. The fuck kind of sense does that make? It doesn't make any sense at all. Who cares? A flight response is, I don't think BPAs are really in this cup. So who cares? And even if they are, I've had so much BPA in my life before. What is another glass of iced tea really gonna do? So Kim is always, she's in a constant state of fight. I've got to defend my husband because if I don't defend my husband, why am I married to him? If I'm going to let in these other data points that he's misogynistic, that he's a clown, that he's not a genius at all, that he's like a little kid with a marker being like, I'm an artist. And you're just like, oh, go upstairs. Then I have to, if I'm Kim, I have to confront the possibility that I need to get divorced. And let's talk about the fallout of that. Publicly, financially, for her children. I have to start dating again. Who's going to want to date me? I've got 4 kids. I'm crazy. I don't even meet new people. It's a lot. So she's going to take the path of least resistance. She's going to defend him, right? She's confirming her bias in his favor, right? Because that, from an evolutionary energy expenditure standpoint, is much easier. And it's easy for us on the outside to say, she should have just apologized. I know. But what we don't see is the calculations in her mind about what that apology would mean on a larger level in terms of her commitment to Kanye, right? And so it's important for us to pause because we all suffer from confirmation bias. This isn't a Kim Kardashian problem. Think about in the past when you have been like, no, I love him. I never let him go. Like the DMX song where you're just like, no matter what someone tells you about your boyfriend, you're like, no. Didn't we not do this with our parents at times, right? Can you imagine being a parent and being like, Crystal, I know you think Kyle is the one. And I know you think he's going to make it as an MMA fighter, even though he weighs 110 pounds and eats nothing but ramen and Monster Energy drink. But just try to look at it from... No! That would be crazy making. And that's the hell our parents have been living. That's the hell we live as a best friend who are constantly trying to talk a friend out of dating a douchebag or going to the wrong school or whatever it might be. And so it's important for us, what we can get from this is just that Kris Jenner neutrality, that tiny step back and be like, where have I been blindly digging in my heels? And you know, we think like, okay, Kim could just get divorced. Like it would suck, but it wouldn't be the end of the world. Well, to her, it would be. And when we look at why we're doing confirmation bias, when we're engaging in that, yeah, the worst case scenario that we're running from isn't going to crash the world either. But to us, we have either catastrophized it, or become like nihilistic about it. You know, like, okay, so I leave my cheating boyfriend as if I'm going to find someone who isn't going to cheat on me. What's the fucking point? That's flight. That's flight. I'm distancing myself from the truth and telling myself that like, there's no point, you know? Or, okay, he cheats on me. I haven't been an angel. Like I cheated on a boyfriend in the past, so this is what I deserve. Right? But we need to stop and every so often just be like, am I logging all the data points, you know? And just listen to some of the devil's advocate things that people in your life are saying. Listen to the devil's advocate things that your own intuition is saying because your psyche is always speaking to you. Your psyche is always speaking to you, right? And even though her primary objective in this life is to avoid pain, that's why we go into denial. That's why we have confirmation bias, right? She also wants what's best for you. She wants to keep you alive and healthy and mating with someone healthy to keep the bloodline alive, right? That's a primary motivation as well. And so there are these two sides of your psyche constantly talking to each other. Well, do what's easy. No, do what's healthy. No, do what's So why are we only listening to the easy side, to the fight or flight confirmation bias side? Let's just pause and be like, let's listen to the other. And look, you don't have to go around issuing I told you so's to people. You don't have to be like, you know what, you were right. No, fuck, I never say anyone was right. Never. No, all my discoveries are my own. But that doesn't mean you should be so staunch that you're cutting off your nose to spite your own face, as my grandmother would say. You know, that you're like hurting other people, but actually you're just hurting yourself. So let's use this quarantine time to do a little confirmation bias dismantling, you know, which I would hope that Kim and Kanye and her people are doing. But I think she has sold her soul to the Kanye devil, and there is so much riding on this success because we've talked before about how Kim, I think she's becoming that alpha female, that warm-blooded animal. She's going back to school. She's trying to help people. And it's like, yes, Kim, there's a life outside of you. But part of her rebrand away from just sex pot and vapid reality star is family woman, right? The depth of being a family woman and getting divorced and being like, you know what? I was wrong. He is a fucking nightmare. Does not align with that. It's simply not on brand. So I think she's in it for the foreseeable future with Kanye, and things like this just gets her deeper and deeper. So when you're dealing with a friend who's dating a Kanye or something, I've done videos on how to get a friend away from a douchebag. Hammering at them is like the worst thing you can do because they just fight. They fight and they dig in and they defend him, or they flight and they cut you off. You're the source of unwanted data. You're the problem. Who is it easier to leave? My husband, my long-term boyfriend, or this bitch all up in my texts telling me that I could do better? I want to know your guys' take on this. Do you think there's going to be like another chapter? I really, 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 really hope not. Yeah, I just want your take. And join me again soon. We're going to do a video on Ellen DeGeneres, the most two-faced celebrity in Hollywood. I know a ton of tea about her and Portia, like so much. Just buckle up.